What's up everyone, welcome back to another video here on the Nat Automotive channel, and in today's video I want to unbox and set up a really cool piece of equipment that I got for the garage that you can kind of see already behind me that is just going to make working on the Corvette and all of my other cars that much easier. I'm sure you guys obviously already know from the title of the video and the previous clip what it is exactly that I got for the garage, so I just want to put a disclaimer at the very beginning of this video that this video is not intended to be an exact DIY or how-to video to get these set up. There's plenty of other videos on YouTube, so just if you are going to buy a set of these or you already have, follow your manual. It's a great manual that QUICKJACK provides, and also QUICKJACK has an awesome video on their YouTube channel that kind of runs through the basics of how to set everything up as well. Now before I jump into the unboxing and setup, I just wanted to put it out there that basically the whole setup of these QUICKJACks can be broken down into a few major steps. The first is obviously unboxing everything and laying all of your pieces out. The second is basically applying all of your thread sealant Teflon tape to all your fittings and hoses, then connecting all of the hoses, and then you're basically going to get the power unit set up, fill that up with hydraulic fluid or ATF. Then you're going to be bleeding the hydraulic rams, and then basically doing your initial checks and checks run. That's kind of like the overview setup, but again, check out QUICKJACK's video, and there's a bunch of other videos from other YouTubers that have posted videos on their detailed step-by-step. I didn't want to go through the process of doing all that, so I'm just going to share a kind of like a time-lapse video of me setting it up, and then my thoughts and first impressions from using these. Alright, here we go, first test. Just going to do a quick walk around, make sure everything's good, all the lines are connected. Centered on the lift blocks. Alright, here we go. Just going to do a quick check, walk around. All right, let's send it. First lock. All right, second lock, so we back it down a little bit. And now it is on the mechanical locks. Okay, ladies and gents, the Corvette is up on the highest locking point on the QUICKJACks, and man, I am just so stoked to have these in the garage. It is going to make the world of a difference when working on this car. Like, I kid you not, there's so much ground clearance. It is just absurd. And it's going to make doing a lot of the projects that I have to do in the near future way easier, which is why I decided to spend the $1,500 and buy these. Because they're just going to be well worth it. It's investing in a tool in the garage for not only working on this, but this guy as well. Because I got the SLX 7000, so it has the capacity to almost lift 2 Corvettes and definitely a Tundra. So this thing is plenty capable for what I need it to do. But just a little hint, this is one of the projects I'm going to be doing in the future, and another one as well. So we needed some high lift clearance to get underneath the car, but it's crazy how much clearance there is, and it's just gonna be so much better than trying to jack this thing up with a floor jack and set jack stands down and do all that nonsense. It's just way easier, so worth it. It's one of those tools that it's expensive. Not everyone has the means to pay $1,500 or $1,000 for a hydraulic lift like this, but if you can afford it, it's just well worth it, because it just makes all these jobs that much easier. If you can go halvesies in with a friend or something, because you guys work on cars together, highly recommend doing this. But it's just crazy how much ground clearance we have to get underneath the car and work on it now. So I'm so stoked, if you can't already tell. So just a real quick first impressions from the setup, unboxing, and initial use. So again, I got the QUICKJACK BL7000SLX. So this is kind of like, I think this is the highest capacity that they make, the 7000 series. I think there's a QUICKJACK that's still longer for use for trucks, because I'm pretty sure if I do want to lift the Tundra, I have to buy what are called frame extenders, because the lift points on the truck are going to be obviously way wider than what the Corvette is. So when I get to that point of doing something on the Tundra, I'll have to probably purchase those. But anyways, I got this 7000 SLX kit, so it's not just the kit, it came with the lift bundle. So it basically came with these extra lifting pads that you can put on for trucks and things of that sort, and then it also came with these kind of brackets to hold these things on the wall. Although, I know in reading some reviews and watching some videos, these little brackets, so each of these weighs almost 100 pounds. It's like 96 pounds. And I don't know if I would trust myself to hold these things on this. So I probably won't stack these or store the QUICKJACks on these things. I'll probably just use them to store the hoses, the hydraulic hoses. So you get that, and then these extra pads in the kit. And basically I got everything from Costco for, after tax and everything, it was right at just over $1,500, and it came FedEx within like literally 2 days of ordering them online. So disregard my previous statement about these wall hanger mounts for the QUICKJACks. I totally misunderstood how you're supposed to install these and use these. So these are not designed to support the full weight of the QUICKJACks, basically taking it off the ground entirely and supporting it entirely on the wall. these basically just go on the end that doesn't have the wheels, and this little hook part of the bracket hugs this top bar here, the QUICKJACK, and it actually just holds it vertically. So the QUICKJACK still is resting on the ground, but the top part of it is just resting in the little cup of the wall bracket. So it just basically keeps it from sliding down the wall. So if you imagine you stack these vertically, this basically holds it and keeps it from falling down that way. I'll throw a picture in the video to show you guys how they're supposed to be used, but I clearly misunderstood. So I'll definitely be probably mounting these on the wall, both in the corner here, and using those because they're pretty big. So you want to find a good place to store them so they're not always in your way. Oh, and last thing before I forget, it also came with these rubber lifting blocks. So it comes with 8 total, so you get 4 of the large size lifting blocks and then 4 of the standard size lifting blocks that I'm using on the car now. The one thing that I'll probably have to buy in addition to this kit is the low profile lifting blocks for when I actually put coilovers on the car and lower it, so that it has the clearance, because on the Corvettes you actually still have to use a special lifting puck that inserts into the frame so you don't damage the rocker panel and fender when you put pressure to jack up the car. So you get 8 total in this kit. It's pretty cool. They have these holes or recessions on one side and then little bumps on the other side, so they kind of lock in together so they can't slide when they're locked in, so they're kind of like giant rubber Lego bricks. So it's pretty cool. They're beefy, so they're gonna be great to use for jacking up the car. And then it also comes with these handles because, as I mentioned, these QUICKJACks are heavy, so they're almost 100 pounds. So that video of the guy basically bicep curling both of them, that would be tough to do, to move both of them around at the same time. So I'm glad they gave handles. I still have to figure out how those work, but yeah, I'm just super stoked on how these turned out. So now what I'm just going to discuss real quick is just some of the little nuances and tips that I found when assembling them and on the first use. So as I mentioned earlier, basically the whole setup of these QUICKJACks is comprised into a few major steps. First is obviously unboxing and getting everything laid out so you know exactly what you have. Then the next step is getting all your hose and fitting connections ready. So basically that means applying all of your Teflon thread sealant tape to all the, or not all, sorry, there's certain connections that don't require thread sealant tape. So do not put it on every thread sealant. Refer to your manual because that's, it was actually a pretty helpful manual. Sometimes manuals for certain things like this are not good, but this is a very in-depth manual. It's got like full-on CAD drawings and everything, and it's just very thorough. So use the manual when you're setting yours up, that way you don't miss anything important, because obviously you're dealing with a critical safety item here. But yeah, you're going to be applying your thread sealant tape to all of that. Make sure you apply it in the clockwise direction so that when you turn and tighten the fittings on the hoses, it doesn't undo the thread sealant tape. That was one thing they said in the video. So you're going to do all that, get your fittings connected. Then you're basically going to go over to the power unit, and this is where you actually need to fill it up with ATF. So that does not come in the kit. I had to go to O'Reilly's and I got 3 quarts of ATF. The manual says you need 2.1 quarts, although I filled it up to 2 because I thought for sure to take 2, and right at the end of filling up to 2 it overflowed, and they say to fill it up a ½ inch below the fill level. So just keep that in mind. It's not exactly 2.1, it's actually probably slightly less than 2 quarts. And I use the Valvoline ATF Dexron or something like that. Dex Merc ATF. So that's the stuff that I use to fill up the reservoir on the power unit. So once you've filled up the reservoir with ATF, what you're going to be doing is basically a pressurization and bleeding of the hydraulic ram. The first step is you got to fill these little air canisters here with 50 psi of compressed air. No more than that. There's plenty of labels and warnings everywhere about explosions, so you don't want explosions. So don't go more than 50 psi. I think they say to between 40 and 50, but again, refer to the manual. So you just use either a bike pump or a air compressor, and there's a little Schrader valve right here. You just fill that up. That pressurized air actually forces and helps force the hydraulic fluid out of the ram when you're lowering the car, so that helps lower down a little bit more consistently and evenly, I think. And then the next step is you're actually going to be bleeding the hydraulic system, getting all the air out of the hydraulic lines, because obviously air can compress but hydraulic fluid can't, so you want to make sure that it's all bled properly so it's safe and works correctly. There's a little bleed screw down here, so again, refer to the manual. There's a whole bleed process. You basically put these up on an angle. You raise and lower them 3 times, and then you raise them up, and then you undo the bleed screw, let the air come out until fluid comes out. Have rags ready because it does drip hydraulic fluid when you're doing the bleeding process. So if you have a garage floor that you care about, I don't really care about mine because there's stains everywhere already, but just keep that in mind if you don't want to get hydraulic fluid stains on your concrete floor. So then at that point, I'm pretty sure you're ready to go to do your initial lift. So just double check all your connections, double check all your fittings to make sure you don't have any leaking fluid from any of your quick disconnect fittings and anything of that sort. Just double check the fluid level in your reservoir after you've done the bleeding process, just to make sure that it's still at the appropriate level. And then the other thing too, so when you have the QuickJack set up, there is a left and right side. So you always want this mechanical locking bar to be on the outside of the car, the outboard side of the car. So this is obviously the left side or driver's side, the other one is the passenger side, because this is the mechanical lock that you actually use to properly secure the car, so you're not relying on the hydraulic pressure of the ram to hold the car up. Just like with a hydraulic floor jack, you always use jack stands. So what you do is you raise the car up. Once this little bar passes the lock, you actually lower the lift back down a little bit, and then this piece here engages on the 2 stops. So there's 2 stops. This is the highest setting that the car can sit at. And the other way you'll know that you're on the right side is the label, or you have the jacks or frames on the right side, is the label faces forward with the mechanical locking arm facing out. Again guys, I'm just super stoked to have these QuickJacks in the garage here. It's just going to make working on this car so much easier and so much more convenient too. If I need to rotate tires, although I can't rotate tires on this car, but on any other car, or I need to do brakes or anything, it's just going to be so much easier. And it's just one of those things that they're expensive, but if you have the money, it's just going to be well worth it in the long run if you're a DIY garage mechanic like I am. The thing I was debating on taking the car in to do these jobs, a few of these jobs coming up, but at the same time I was really battling with that idea because the whole reason why I bought this car was to learn and wrench on it myself and teach myself new things and challenge myself, and I'm not going to get that by taking the car to a shop, even though it'd be much easier. So that's why I thought to, instead of paying a shop to do it, I'm going to invest the money in buying this equipment for the garage so I can do this and of course many other jobs in the future to come. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little setup video and first impressions. If you have any comments or questions about the QuickJacks that I got, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Or if you have any general comments or questions about the Corvette, go-kart, anything on the channel, I'm always happy to answer your questions and things of that sort. So if you guys haven't already, definitely subscribe for more because we got a lot of cool content to come, especially now that I got these lifts in the garage. So thank you guys again so much for watching, and other than that, I will see you guys in the next one.